Good morning, ladies and gents. Today we are going to look at a paper, the mathematics paper 0580, paper 42 from a May-June sitting in 2015. You would see that the time allocated is 2 hours 30 minutes. I do hope that we're going to get this video done in less than an hour. That means that you have a lot more time to actually complete the questions in. So do pause and complete the question. Try to do it on your own before continuing to watch the YouTube. Okay, good. So we start jumping in right at the first question. Last year, a golf club charged 1,650 for a family membership. This year, the cost increased by 12%. Calculate the cost of a family membership this year. So we start off by drawing a little diagram. In my diagram, it's last year, so it's 1650 from last year. I add 12% to it. Okay, so last year was 100%. I add 12% to it. So this year would be 112%. So I just want to close this little program that popped up. Okay. So this year we will have a percentage of a number equals another number. We have 112% of my original value 1650 equals this other number. Let me just move my page slightly. And this other number, if I tap that into my calculator, I get 1848. And that is the answer for this year. So 1848. Okay, good. So let's have a look at the second question, or B part. The golf club runs a competition. The total prize money is shared in the ratio first prize to second prize, 9:5. The first prize is $500 more than the second prize. Calculate the total cost of a prize for the competition. Okay, good. So let's have a look. It is 1 to 2. First prize, second. That would be 9 to 5. That would give us a total of 14. And if I do that, that's 500 plus x, and that one was 500. So if we have a look at that, 500 more, so it's 500 divided by the difference between this, because the one is 500 more, would be 4 units. That would give me 125 for each of those little units. So I can therefore say this is 14 units in total times 125. 14 times 125, and that would give me $1750, and that is the total prize money for the competition. 750. Okay, good. Let's have a look at the second question. Let me just move my page up. What percentage of the total prize money is given as first prize? What percentage of the total prize money? So we have to find out what was the first prize. So it was 9 parts out of 14 times my total 1750. I tap that in 1125. So it is the first prize 1125 over my total 1750 times 100 to get the percentage, and I can tap that into my calculator and it gives me 64.3%. Okay, good. So the last part on this page is C. For the members of a golf club, the ratio men to children is 11 to 2. The ratio women to children is 10 to 3. So let's quickly see, and then they will ask us to find the ratio men to women. So we have children as the common factor here. So men and children, 11, 2. And then women and children, and that is 10, 3. So if I multiply, or if I find that these two are common, I can set those equal to one another. So I'm going to multiply this part of my ratio by 3, and I'm going to multiply this part of my ratio by 2. That would give me 6 and 6. That's what I wanted. So 33 to 6, and then 20 to 6. And now we have a common factor, 6 and 6, with the children are both 6. So therefore, men and women would be 33 to 20. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next question. We just get the, sorry guys, question page 3. Here we go. The golf club has 24 members who are children. Find the total number of members. Okay, so 24 of those are children. How do we find the rest? We know that we have a fraction of a number equals another number. It would be a fraction. It's 24 out of 6 because there's actually six kids. Let's quickly just do this before I continue here. So we have 33 and 20 and 6. That gives me a total of 59. So it's 24 parts out of 6 times 59 would give me that other number. And then if I do that calculation, I get the total number. And where did I do that now? Just quickly give me a second. Just get my calculator out. And that would give us 236. There you go. 236 as a total number. Okay, good. So the next question, we have question D. The shop sold a box of golf balls for $20.40. The shop made a profit of 20% on the cost price. Calculate the cost price. So we don't know what is the cost price. It is X, okay? But we have added, this part is a 20% profit that we've made. So the cost price is actually 80%. And we do know what the shop sold it for, okay? Sorry, I would just do that. 20.40, and then X would be this part that we want to find. That is the cost price, X. Okay, so a percentage of a number equals another number. Percentage is 80% of my original price, that is 20.40, would give me the new price or the cost price. So the cost price, let me just move it slightly, is 16.52, so $16.32. Okay, good. So let's move on to the next question, question 2. And there we have a beautiful diagram with lots of interesting things about it. The first question is let's read the information. In the diagram, B, C, D, and E lie on the circle with center O. B, C, D, and E lie on the circle with center O. A, B, and AD are tangents to the circle. Some important things to see there. They are tangents, so from the same point of view, that line segment and that line segment will be equal to one another. And then angle B AD is 48 degrees. Good, so something more interesting here is that this is a radius, and that radius would be equal to one another. Okay, so just so that I can distinguish there immediately, and we try to put in as many of the little knowns now before I start reading the questions. I know from the center of a circle to the point of tangency, that would give me a 90-degree angle, and that side too, a 90-degree angle. Okay, good. So I think we've done about what we can at the moment. There are many more things, but let's see what they want. So the first question is find angle ABD. Angle ABD. This little one there, okay? That angle. How can we find this? We know that this angle is 90 degrees. Is it possible to find any one of these other angles? If that is 48, okay, and then, okay, I can see this. This is 48, so that's the little triangle there. We can find this angle because it's a triangle and it's an equilateral triangle. So both of these angles there would be equal to one another. If I'm looking at, let me get another color to highlight the area there. That is a equilateral triangle over there. Okay, good. So I'm ready and steady to go. This angle over there and that angle would be equal to one another. So we would have 48 plus x would be equal to 180. If I solve then for x, it would be 2x is equal to, so it would be 66. X would be equal to 66. Okay, good. So now they ask us to find angle OBD. So let us write it down there. This part is 66 and that is also 66 degrees. Okay, angle OBD, if that is 66, then, and we know that both of them would be this little angle here and that part of 66 would be equal to 90 degrees. I can just subtract it from one another. So that would be 90 degrees minus 66. That would give me 24 degrees. So that would be 24 degrees. Okay, let's write it in. And it is a little bit easier to solve these geometric questions. The next question is angle BCD. Angle BCD. Okay. And we have to find this angle, I suppose, to find that one. We know that that is 24 and 24, and that's the interior angles of a triangle. So I can find that by subtracting 24 and 24 from 180. That would give me, let me quickly check it, 132. But I just want to check 180 minus 24 minus 24. Yes, 132. Okay, and we know that the angle at the center of a circle is twice the size of the angle at the circumference of a circle subtended by the same arc. So we can divide 132 by 2, and that would give me 66 degrees. So I can fill that in my answer, 66 degrees. Then the next question asked me to find angle BED. BED. ED. Okay, that's not so bad because we know the opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral add up to 180, and there's my cyclic quadrilateral. So I can just have 180 minus 66 to give me this one. That would give me 114. Okay, let's write that in. Angle BED is in 180 minus 66 would give me 144. No, is that right? 114, sorry, 114 degrees. Okay, and that is 114 degrees. Okay, the next one. The radius of a circle is 15 centimeters. So say this radius is 15 centimeters. Calculate the area of triangle BOD. So the area of a triangle, and we have an angle here and a radius, we can use as the area of any triangle is a half BC sine A. Okay, now we have B, it is 15. We have C, it is 15. We have sine of 132 degrees. I can tap that into my calculator and I get an answer of 83.6 centimeters squared. Okay, now give a reason why ABOD is a cyclic quadrilateral. Okay, it's a cyclic quadrilateral because the opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral add up to 180 degrees. Okay, good. So we're done with question 2. I'm happy with that. Let's move on to question 3. Okay, good. Question 3 says, on the first part of our journey, Alan drove a distance of X kilometers and his car used 6 liters of fuel. The rate of fuel used in his car was 600 over X liters per 100 kilometer. Alan then drove another X plus 20 kilometers and his car used another 6 liters of fuel. So it must have been a little bit lighter on fuel that the next round. Write down the expression in terms of X of a rate used by his fuel on this part of the journey. Give your answer in liters per 100 kilometers. So if I gave us an example for the first part, it was 600 over X liters per 100 kilometer. Now we know that the distance is not X anymore. The distance is X plus 20. So all we will do is just rephrase the distance. So X plus 20, and it would be liters per 100 kilometers. So 600 over X plus 20. Okay, good. So the next question, let me just move this up slightly. Okay, on this part of a journey, the rate of fuel used by the car decreased by 1.5 liters per 100 kilometers. Show that equation, if we simplify it, would give us x squared plus 20x minus 8,000 equals 0. Okay, so we have the first part of a journey, it's 600 over x minus my second part of a journey, x plus 20, would give me 1.5 because it decreased. So the larger fuel consumption minus the smaller fuel consumption would give me 1.5. Now we just have to use our knowledge about fractions to solve this. So I'm going to find a common denominator, multiply this with x plus 20 over x plus 20. That whole fraction, and multiply this fraction with x over x. That would give me 1 denominator equals 1 denominator, and I will have x plus 20 and x. This side also multiplied by x over x and x plus 20 over x plus 20. Okay, that will give me x here and x plus 20. In my numerator here, I will have 600x plus 1,000. Why did I? 12,000. Okay, and then minus 600x equals, and then this side, if I simplify it, it'd be 1.5x squared plus 50x. I can cancel out the denominators and simplify the numerator, and I have 1.5x squared plus 50x minus 12,000, sorry, equals 0. Divide the whole equation by 1.5, and we have x squared plus 20x minus 8,000 equals 0. Okay, good. So that was 4 marks, quite substantial. Solve this equation. Okay, to solve this equation, we're just going to factorize it. And we can use either factorization or the quadratic equation. I'm going to use factorization. Okay, 8,000, the factors of 8,000 is 80 times 100. Times 100, that would give me 8,000, yes. So my and I want 20. If I subtract 82 and 100 from one another, I will get 20. I want a positive 20, so it will be 180. So x would be equal to 80, or x would be equal to negative 100. Okay, let's fill it in. 80 or negative 100. Okay, so the next question says, find the rate of fuel used by Alan's car for the complete journey. Find your answer in liters per 100 kilometers. Okay, so my complete journey, he used 6 liters plus another 6 liters. Then the first one was x, and then that one was x plus 20. So that is the rate. Okay, so it's the distance over the fuel, times the liters over the distance. Okay, so we have 12 liters over now. How can x be negative? Okay, so it does not make sense to use the negative 100 because it is my distance. How can I travel negative 100 kilometers? So I'm going to substitute 80 into the places of my x. That would give me 160, 180. Okay, and if, okay, so sorry, this is not 6, it's 600. And that would give you 1200. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. So it's this fraction that we started off originally over the fraction that we started off, the distance, the new distance. Good, so we're a little bit better there. And that would give me 6.66 liters per 100 kilometers. So 6.66 as an answer. Okay, good. So let's move to the next question. Question 4. Good. A sector of a circle has a radius of 12 centimeters and an angle of 135 degrees. Calculate the length of an arc of a sector. Give your answer as a multiple of pi. So there is my little diagram, and I know that that's 12, and that is 12 centimeters. We have 135, so I can do that rather easily. Just remember that the arc length over the circumference of a circle is the degree measures, 135 over 360. So my arc length is going to be 135 over 360 times the circumference of a circle is pi r, 2 pi r. So 2 pi and r we know is 12. Okay, I can plug that into my calculator. We want it in terms of pi, so it would give me 9 pi. Good, so now the next part is part 2. It's a it's a continuation of part A. If a sector is used to make a cone, calculate the base of a radius r. So we know that these two are joined now to make a little cone, and that arc length is now going to be the circumference of my cone at the bottom. So we know that arc length is going to be 2 pi r. 2 pi r. Okay, we know that it is 9 pi equals, and then 2 pi r is that we want to find the r. So r would be in pi, and pi can cancel out. I get 4.5. So my radius there would be 4.5. Good, so now they ask us calculate the height of the cone. Well, let's just quickly draw a little triangle there. If I have that as 12 and I have that as 4.5, I have that as h. We can use Pythagorean theorem to calculate the h, the height. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We have 4.5 squared plus b squared equals 12 squared. I can just solve for b. B would be equal to the square root of 12 squared minus 4.5 squared. I can plug that into my calculator and I get 11.1 correct to 3 significant figures. Okay, good. So let's have a look at the next question. The next question gives us a beautiful cone. The diagram shows a pot plant. It is made by removing a small cone from a larger cone and adding a circular base. So here I have a cone. I remove this bottom part of a bottom cone, a smaller cone, and add a base to it, and there's my pot plant. Okay, good. Then they say this is the cross section of this pot plant, and they give us some information there. Some decent information, I think. This is 15 centimeter radius, and the part of a pot plant that they have removed is the radius is 8 centimeters. So my slanted height for my pot plant is 35, and the original length of the cone was L, or the slanted height was L. Good. So the first question is find this slanted height L. Okay, now I've pondered about this question a little bit, and this is L. So this part that I've cut off would be L minus 35, because if that part is 35 that's left over, this dotted part must be L minus this part that's left, 35. Okay, so we will have a ratio question. It is 8, let me move my page, 8 over 15. So the radius of my removed cone over the radius of a remaining cone, okay, equals then the one that I've removed, the slanted height that I've removed over my slanted height. Okay, so we're both in terms of L, and that we can do. We can cross multiply, so 8L equals 15L minus 35. I just distribute there. 8L equals 15L minus 525. That would give me negative 7L equals negative 525. And divide by negative 7L, negative 7, that would give me 75. So my original length there is 75. Okay, good. So now they ask us, calculate the total surface area of the outside of a pot plant. The curved surface area A of a cone of a radius R and slanted height L is A equals pi RL. So A equals pi RL, and that we know is the curved surface area, plus we have the bottom. that is just a circle, and that would be pi r squared. Okay, so we've got to find both of them. The slanted height, so pi r, what is that? The radius of the remaining cone. Okay, this is a little bit more interesting. If I want to find the remaining cone, the pot plant, I will need the surface area of my total cone minus the surface area of the bottom cone. That would give me the surface area of that remaining cone that was left. Okay, so I need to add one little bit of information here. That needs to be done second. We need to then also subtract pi rl. So it is my original one minus my smaller cone, and that would give me the pot plant part of the cone that's left over. Okay, so this larger one, the radius was 15 and the slanted height was 75. Okay, minus pi, and that smaller cone that was removed is 8, the radius, and the height we know it is L minus 35, so 75 minus 35. Okay, good, so we'll do that part just now. I can plug this whole thing in my calculator and I get 805 pi. Okay, now for the bottom, because they say the total surface area, just watch this out, the total surface area is pi r squared. So my circle, my bottom would be pi, and r is 8 squared. So that would give me 64 pi. Okay, so I want the total. So my total would be 805 pi plus 64 pi, and that gives me 869 pi. Or we can simplify that or multiply it out of the pi. That would give me 2730 if I round it off to 3 significant figures. Centimeters squared, my area. Okay, good. So let's move to C. Some cones are mathematically similar. For these cones, the mass m is proportional to the cube of a base of a radius. So this is a proportional question. So the mass is proportional to the base of a radius, to the cube of the radius. So radius cubed. Okay, but we know that there must be a constant involved. So mass equals constant r cubed. Find an expression. Okay, so they say one cone has a mass of 148.5 and a base radius of 4.5. So 1458 equals k 4.5 cubed, and then we can solve for k equals 16. I can rewrite that expression in terms of m as a general expression in terms of r. So m equals 16r cubed. Okay, good. So let's move to the last little bit of this page. Two of the cones have a radius of 2 to 3. Write down the ratio of their masses. Okay, so all we need to do is just use that. So it's 16 have a radius 2 cubed to 16 have a radius 3 cubed. Okay, I can divide by 16 on both sides of my equation and cancel out the 16s. That would give me 8 to 27, and that's exactly what I want. So I can write that down, 8 to 27. That's my simplest ratio. I cannot simplify that quickly. Okay, sorry. Let's move on to question 5 first. Okay, good. So here we have some some values, a beautiful curve, and they say x cannot be equal to 0. Well, that is very true because we can never divide by 0. It would be impossible. So to find these, to complete this table and to find these missing values, all I need to do is to substitute -2 into that equation there. Please put the -2 in parentheses so that when you plug it into your calculator, you actually squaring the negative as well. And if I did that, quickly do it, that would give me 2 and 3, that would give me 7. Okay, good. So now I hope this would be alright to show you. I've plotted these points on my grid just now, and now all I need to do is draw a smooth line. Now I've moved my camera closer to the work so that it can be a little bit better. You can see the writing a little bit clearer, but that does create a little bit more of a problem concern that you can't see the whole picture. Okay, so I'm just going to show you quickly. That is the plot of a curve and that side there. Okay, and that would give you 5 marks. Okay, something to watch out for. Mark each of these points with a little cross, with a little X, then draw one smooth curve to connect the curves. So can you see it is just a plain, I didn't lift my pencil up, I just drew it continuously. That would give you 5 marks. Okay, good. So question 5, let's move on to the question part of this. Okay, good. So they ask there, by drawing a suitable tangent, find an estimate of a gradient of a graph at the point 1 and 11. Okay, so I need to find the point 1 and 11. 1 and 11 over there. There we go. And now I've got to draw this tangent line. So I just put it there so that it's nice and neat. Okay, so the distance there and the distance there is similar. And there we go. Okay, so there's my point, and I've just touch it. Now to find an estimate gradient of this tangent line that I've drawn, I'm just going to read down these values. Okay, it's an estimate because it's drawn by eye. It's not calculated by calculus. So this point over here, I'm just going to write it down, is 1, 2, 3, 4. 2.4 and 0. The point over there, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it would be 0 and 18. Okay, so those are the 2 points that I'm looking at. Okay, so I'm going to find this gradient there by drawing the suitable points. So I've got 2 points. Let me write the points down here, 0 and 18. And I had 2.4 and 0. It makes sense to use those values with x coordinate as 0 and a y coordinate as 0. It makes things just a little bit easier. How do I find the gradient? Gradient m is delta y over delta x. That is the change in y, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That would give me y2, let's do it, 18 minus 0, and x2, 0 minus 2.4. I need to use my calculator. Yours might differ, okay? As long as it is close in the range, and that would be fine. So mine is negative 7.5 or negative 7.5. Negative 7.5. Now you will agree with me that your gradient can't be positive because your tangent is negative. Let me check on the full mark scheme. What do they accept as a gradient? they accept anything between negative 7.5 and negative 13 as a gradient. So we are fine here. Okay, good. Let's move on. The equation x squared negative 2x plus 12 over x equals k has exactly two solutions. Use the graph to find this value of k. So where it has exactly two solutions, if I find that exactly two solutions, only two solutions, there's no more. Okay, so over here on the bottom side of my graph, I would only have one solution. Always one solution. If I use my ruler, I will find only one solution. There is only one solution. There's only one solution. And then at that point, there, I have all of a sudden, I have two solutions. I've got a solution there, and I have a solution over here. So that would give me two solutions. So what is this value? And if I look at that, I get 6. That is the value. So my k value would be 6. Good. Now, the solutions, x squared negative 2x plus 12 over x equals k. Okay, find the value of k. So k must be 6. What is those x values? Okay. So let's quickly have a look again. If I plug that in there, that point and that point, I look down. So it's over there. Now that's 2. Okay, and we have to look here. 2.1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 2.3, negative 2.4 and 2. So I have my solutions there. Negative 2.4 and my x value is 2. Then the next question is a rather interesting question, and I don't think it's so easy to solve it on the grid, but it's algebraically it's quite easy to compute. So the equation x cubed plus ax squared plus bx plus c can be solved by drawing a line y equals 3x plus 1 on the grid. Find the value of a, b and c. Okay, so I am going to do it algebraically. I say, well, if I have my equation that I started off with, that I've drawn, so it's x squared minus 2x plus 12 over x, and I set it equal to my line 3x plus 1, and I solve now. I've basically computed or distributed and simplified. I first have to multiply it with an x, my whole equation, because I want to get rid of our denominator. So x cubed minus 2x squared plus 12 minus 3x squared minus x equals 0. Now let's simplify this. It's quite messy. X cubed minus 5x squared minus x 12 minus plus 12 there, plus 12 equals 0. Now by equating coefficients, I can see that x cubed, I have a coefficient of a of 1 and 1. A would be negative 5, b would be negative 1, and c would be 12. Okay, and there I've completed this question. Question 5 is done. Good. Let's have a look at question 6. Good. Good. The diagram shows the positions of two ships A, B, and the Coast Guard Station C. and they give a distances. This is 95.5 kilometers, and that one is 83.1 kilometers. And now let's see what they want. Calculate the distance of AB between the two ships. The distance of AB between the two ships. Show that it rounds up to 138 kilometers. Correct to the nearest kilometer. Okay, good. So if I do that, I know that the distance between the two ships, and I have an angle and two sides. I can use the cosine rule. So a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. I can substitute it in. So a squared equals b. That would give me 95.5 squared plus 83.1 squared minus 2, 95.5, 83.1 cosine of 101. Okay, good. And then if I calculate it, A would be 138 kilometers. Okay, and there I am really happy I can fill it in there, 138 kilometers. I've proven it. That's worth 4 marks. So that's a lot and quite an easy question worth of 4 marks. Okay, now the bearing of a Coast Guard station from ship A is 136. Calculate the bearing of ship B from ship A. So first of all, let's write down the bearings. So this bearing of C from A is 146 degrees. And then they say, what do they want? Let me quickly just check here again. Calculate the bearing of ship B from A. Ship B from A. Good, so that's the north. And I need to find this bearing. That one. Okay. So the 146 is this one to line C. And then I have to let's see if I can write it down a little bit neater. Let me just erase a little bit here. So this inside one is 146, and we want to find that one. Okay, I think that's a little bit easier to see now. Okay, good. So what do I know about it? How do we calculate this? Well, I can, this is a squared. What is the bearing? If I find this bearing here, would that help me? So I can say that the interior angles will add up to 180 degrees. No. Interior angle here. If I found this angle over here, I can subtract it from 136, and that would give me that bearing. Okay, so I'm just interested in this one. Okay, and I can use again. I've got an angle between two sides. I've got an opposite side. So I can use either the sine rule or I can use the cosine rule again. It doesn't matter. Okay, awesome. Now we're on the roll. Okay. Good. So I can use the cosine rule again. So a squared, let me just move it up slightly more, equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. So a squared is 83.1 squared equals b 95.5 squared plus c 138 squared minus 2 95.5 138 cosine a, and the a is what I want to find. I don't have that cosine a. Well, I can simplify this, square this, and subtract these two from that. that would give me a negative number. It's quite large. So negative 21258.64 equals, okay, now I can multiply this all together, negative 26358 cosine A, divide by these negative numbers, so I will get cosine A equals 21258.64 divide by 26358, okay, and then find the inverse. Cosine inverse of this whole blob will be A. I plug that into my calculator, so 21258.64 over 26358, and then I find this answer, that A value, so let me move it up a little bit more, that A would be 36.2. That's not the answer though. That's not the answer. That is this angle over here, the one that I started off on a little, nearly a tangent. So 36.2 degrees. So if I substitute 146 from 36.2, I would find this angle, the one that I wanted, the bearing of B from ship A. Okay, so I can do the subtraction there. So 146 minus 36.2, and I have 109.8 degrees. And I substitute it, or just write it down in my answer box. 109.8 degrees. Okay, good. So that was question 6A and B. Let's move on to question 6C. Okay. At noon, the lighthouse L is 64.2 kilometers from B. It's at a bearing of 21 degrees. But this ship sails directly northwest. So north is over there, west is over there. It's in between, so it's a 45-degree angle there. So they ask us calculate the distance ship B must sail from its position at noon to be at its closest distance to the lighthouse. So we know that the closest distance would be the perpendicular line. So perpendicular to L. Okay, so that would be perpendicular to L. There we go. And that is at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so I have a 90-degree triangle. Just going to draw it here. This is this bit there. Okay, that is for 90-degree. That's 45 plus 21 is this angle over there. That would give me 66. And the hypotenuse is 46.2 kilometers. We want x. So we can use SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Okay. I want the, what do I want? I want, from this angle, I want the adjacent, and I have a hypotenuse, so I'm going to need to use cosine. Okay, so let's do that. So change the pen. Okay, so cosine of my angle of 66 degrees equals adjacent x over 46.2. I can multiply on both sides by 46.2, solve for x. X equals 46.2 cosine 66 degrees. Tap that into your calculator. Just make sure that your calculator is in degree mode. 18.8 kilometers. So x I get as 18.8, and this distance closer that it will sail is 18.8. Okay, good. Good, so question 7. Good, the next question. A group of 50 students estimated the mass m grams of sweets in a jar. the results are shown in the table. So we have a number of students, then 5, 9, 18, 12, and 6, and the masses, and it's a estimated, so it's in little classes, divided into classes. The next question asks us to calculate the estimated mean. So to find the estimated mean, I have to find the mid-class value. So I've done that already, mid-class value. How do I find the mid-class value? I add these two up and divide it by 2. That would give me these values that I've written down. Okay, so estimated mean is x bar. It is the sum of fi xi divided by the sum of fi. Okay, so we know what is the sum of fi. It is 50. Because they said a group of 50 students estimated. So now I need to fill this in. So it would be 100. It's my 100 times 5 plus 250 times 9 plus 325 times 18 plus 375 times 12 plus 450 times 6. So I'm just going to quickly write it down. Okay, all over 50, and that I can use my calculator for, find an answer, and I get 316 as an answer. 316. Okay, let me check that I am correct. I don't want to tell you something and that is not right. Let me quickly check it. And that is correct. That is correct. Okay, good. So the next one is we've got to complete this histogram, show the information in the table, and then we have a frequency density, and this is the frequency density. The first and the last column have already been drawn for us. What is frequency density? Okay, so I'm going to use the space here. Frequency density is frequency over class width. Okay, so it's just my abbreviation. It's not an official abbreviation. Just I can write it out. Frequency class width. Okay, so what is my frequency? My frequency for my first one is 5 over my class width, that is 200, and I get an answer of I haven't done that one. Okay, that was already done for us. Let's quickly do the next one. It is 9 over 100. That will give me 0.09. The next one is 18 over the class width of 50. That will give me 0.36. The next one is 12 over a class width of 50. That would give me 0.24, and the last one is done for us. Okay, so we need to fill these in. Okay, get my pencil out. So 0.09, and it is a class width of 100, so up to there, and that is 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it would be this just under that line there. Just there. That little sliver there. Okay. And then 0.36 for the next 50. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0.3. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there. Just use your straight edge. It's a little bit better actually to do that. Get a neater result. Okay, and the last one, 0.242, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's use the straight edge again. Okay. Okay, and there is our result. Okay, good. Now let's have a look at the next one. Okay, a group of 50 adults also estimated the mass M and the sweets in the jar. The histogram below shows their information with their estimates. And use the histogram to make two comparisons between the distribution of our estimates about the students and the adults. So let's have a look at the adults. We can see that none of them measured 100 grams or less than 200 grams actually. So their information is a little bit more condensed to 500. Okay, a little bit more condensed. They seem to have selected more the values a little bit more closer, and more of the adults selected higher values. So if I look at the students, however, their answers seem to be broader, with more students estimating 100, less than 200, very few students measuring 200 to 300, but then the rest of it remains the same. So how do we write this down as an answer? Well, I'm just going for students have their range of values are greater. Okay. The range of values are greater. And what happens to the adults? Adults does seem to have selected higher masses. Okay, good. So that concludes question 7. Let's move on to question 8. Sima sells X biscuits and Y cakes. She sells at least 100 biscuits. Write down this inequality in terms of X. So at least 100 biscuits, so X is greater or equal to 100, and that would be my solution. She sells at least 120 cakes. Write that inequality in terms of Y. So that would be Y is greater or equal to 120. Okay. Then she sells a maximum of 300 biscuits and cakes together. Write down the inequality in terms of X. So X plus Y, a maximum must be smaller or equal to 300. So X plus Y is smaller or equal to 300. Okay. Then Sima makes a profit of 40 cents on each biscuit and 80 cents on each cake. Her total profit is $160. Show that it will come to this inequality. So 40 cents, so it's 0.4 of X plus 0.8 of Y would be at least 160, so it can be more. So it's at least $160. So I changed the 40 cents to something in terms of a dollar, and changed the 80 cents in terms of a dollar. So my units are the same across board. Now I can divide by 0.4 on throughout the equation. That would give me X plus 2Y is greater or equal to 400. And that's awesome. That's exactly what I wanted. That gives me 1 mark. Good. Now the next question is, on the grid, draw the 4 lines to show the 4 inequalities and shade the unwanted regions. Okay, so let's quickly have a look. Get my pencil and straight edge. Okay. First of all, X is equal to 100. Okay, or equal or greater than, so I can do it as a solid line. So that's X and 100. Then the next one is that we've had y and 120. 1, 2, 120. It's also a solid line because it's also greater or equal. Y is greater or equal to 120. Good. The next one is x plus y is equal to 300. If I do that, I can solve there for y equals negative x plus 300. So 300 and negative x, so it must be going there. It's also to 300. That is for inequality there. And it's also a strong, a weak inequality with a solid line. So that is x plus y is smaller or equal to 300. And then the last one is the inequality that we've written, x plus 2y is greater or equal to 400. I can solve there. That would give me, let me quickly write it down there. X plus 2y is greater or equal to 400. Just move it up slightly. There you go. So y would be greater or equal to negative a half x plus 200. So 200, and my x-intercept would be then times 2, so it's 400. So there's my line. Okay, and that is the equation x plus 2y is greater or equal to 400. Okay, so I've got a lot of little line segments there that I've got to check and make sure that I select the right area or the right region. Now I'm just going to select a point that's not on the grid, not on one of those lines. I'm just selecting the point 10, 10. This little point there. That's the point 10, 10. Now I can substitute each one of those x and y coordinates into these equations and see what is it, where would it be. And we want to shade the unwanted region, okay? If I substitute 10 in here, 10 is greater than 100. Is that true? No, it is not true. So I would shade this region, the unwanted region. This is not the wanted region, okay? There. 10 is greater or equal to 120. No, that's not true. So from this line, this point would not be part of a solution. I can shade it. Okay, let's have a look at those two lines. So 10 plus 10 is smaller or equal to 300. So from this line over here, this would be part of a solution, and that won't be part. Okay, and then the last little bit here, that line over there, let me move it up. So 10 plus 2 times 10 is greater or equal to 400. No, that is not true. So it is this line over here. That is not the truth. That is 50. 50 is not greater or equal to 400. So this point would not be part of a solution set. And I'm going to shade that. So my solution set is this little graph there. And sometimes I ask us to mark it with, to actually write R in it or something like that. But I didn't at this stage, so I'm not going to do anything about it. Okay. So now they ask us to calculate SEMA's maximum profit. Give your answer in dollars. So the maximum profit would be some of the vertices. So I've got a vertex there. I've got a vertex there. I've got a vertex there. And I have a vertex there. So let's write those vertices So 100 and 200. 100 and 200. That one is 100 and 550. So it's 100 and 150. That seems a little bit less. Okay, so I don't think that will work. Let's have a look at this one over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 6. So it would be 160. Sorry. And 160, and it's on the line 120. So 120. Okay, and then the next one is 180, 180 and 120. Okay, so I'm going to have to think about it. Where do I substitute those values into? I need to substitute it into an equation. Probably this equation where we've had 0.4 because we sell the profit, and there we have an equation in terms of profit. So this is my equation in terms of profit. So I'm going to use that, 40 cents on each biscuit and 80 cents on each cake, and that is the profit that she's making. So we need to use that profit equation. So 40 or 0.4 of x plus 0.8 of y, and then now I have to substitute those values in and find where would I find the highest value. I'm going to look at this one. X is 100, 0.4 times 100 plus 0.8 times 200, and I get $200. You can therefore calculate it and see, check which one. I can see that one would be far less. That might be closer or might be close, but I've checked the answer before the time. So $200 is the closer, but the highest profit that she, or the maximum profit that Sigma made, or Sima made. Okay. Good, so question 9, we're moving at a nice pace. We're over an hour already, but I'm just going to press through, and I'm sure you'd be going with me strongly. Okay, good. So next question is expand and simplify this. So we just expand it. So 3x times x would give me 3x squared. 3x times negative 2 would give me negative 6x. Negative 2 times 3x would be negative 6x squared. Negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 5 is 10x. Okay, and we can just simplify this. Negative 3x squared, positive 4x. Okay, and we can write it as any which way. I would prefer to write the higher index values first. Negative 3x squared plus 4x as my answer. Factorize this completely. Okay, so here we have 6w plus 3w. I can see that I can factor out 3w. That will be left over 2 plus y. Okay, now I can factor out a negative 2x. So negative 2x, what will be left? I would have 2, a negative times a positive is a negative, so plus y. Now I have the same factor here and the same factor over there. I can see that this is one term, that is another term. I can therefore factor out this blob that are equal to one another. So I will 2 plus y, factor that out. What is left? 3w and 2x. Okay, and that is my answer. 2 plus y, 3w minus 2x. Good. So here we have a difference of 2 squares. I just have to rewrite it in that form. So 2x squared minus 5y squared. Now you can see that that term and that term is the difference of 2 squares. I can write it as 2 factors. One would be negative, one positive. Whatever there, 2x, 2x, and that little term also, 5y, 5y, and we are done. Okay. The next one is we have to simplify here. Well, we've got to be a little bit clever here. So it would be 16 over 9, and I'm just going to rewrite it. Okay, that, or this whole fraction to the power negative 3 over 2. Then x to the 4th power times negative 3 over 2 to the power negative 3 over 2. Okay. I'm going to use that in my calculator. Tap that whole thing in my calculator as it is. That gives me 27 over 64. Now, x times negative 3 would give me negative 12. Divided by 2 would give me negative 6. So it would be x to the power negative 6. But we know that we want to simplify this. And I know that if I have 1 over a, it would be a to the negative n. Okay, so if I have something in the denominator and I want to write it positively, I'm just going to write it in the numerator. So it would be 27 over 64 x to the 6th power. Okay, so 27 over 64 x to the 6th power. And that would give me 2 marks. Good. Let's move on. We're nearly done. 2 more pages. Okay. Question D says n is an integer. Explain why n minus 2 is an odd number. Okay. So if we do a bit of calculation there, so 2, 1 minus 1, that would give me 1. 2, 2 minus 1, that would give me 3. 2, 3 minus 1, that would not minus 1, okay, sorry, equals 5. Okay, and then therefore we can see that twice a number minus 1 will always give me an odd number, and that's exactly what we need to write down. So 2 times a number minus 1 will give you an odd number. Okay, write down the number n for the next odd number. So if we've subtracted 1, okay, so now I want the next odd number. I have 2n, and we know that 2n would give me 2, 4, 6. If I add 1, I would get the next one. So it would be 2n plus 1, and that's the answer that they wanted. 2n plus 1. Show that the difference between the squares of the 2 consecutive odd numbers is a multiple of 8. Okay, so the difference between the squares, so 2n minus 1 squared minus 2n plus 1 squared would give me a multiple of 8. Okay, so I'm just going to square this. 2n times 2n would give me 4n squared. 2n minus 1 would give me negative 2n times 2 would give me negative 4n plus 1. Okay, minus, this would give me 4n squared plus 4n plus 1. And we can subtract the 2. 4n squared minus 4n squared will disappear. 4n minus negative 4n minus negative 4n would give me negative 18. 1 minus 1 would give me 0. So there we go. It would give me in terms, it would give me let me quickly see here, what have I done there? two consecutive odd numbers. I've done something wrong. Ah, that's what I've done. I have taken the larger one and the smaller one, subtracted the larger one from it. So therefore was 8n. Okay, good. So what should have happened is these two needed to have turned around. So a little error, but I showed well that would give me 8n. Okay, two consecutive odd numbers. Okay, question 10, and we're moving strongly here. PQ is 5, negative 8. Find the value of an absolute value of PQ. So we know that this is the distance. The distance would be x squared plus y squared, and the x is 5 plus the negative 8 squared. Okay, I can use my calculator to find that answer. I got square root 89. That is similar to 9.43 as a rounded off number, 9.43. Okay, so Q is for point 2 and negative 3. Find the coordinates of a point P. So we know that PQ equals Q minus P. PQ we have as 5 and negative 8. Q we have as 2 and negative 3. We know that the point P is a point X and Y. So now I've got two sets of equations. So 5 equals 2 minus X, and we have negative 8 equals negative 3 negative Y. And I can solve there for X. If I solve for X, I get negative 3, and I solve for Y, I get 5. So this point P is negative 3 and 5. Good. Now we're looking at B. It's a lovely little diagram, and please read these informations very carefully, as it will really help you to solve it. Okay. In the diagram, M is the midpoint of AB. Okay, so it's the midpoint of AB. Okay, and L is the midpoint of OM. L is the midpoint of OM. The lines OM and ON intersect at L, and ON is a third of OB. So that would give me a third of B. Okay, so that little section is a third of B. Okay, in terms of A and B, in its simplest form, find OM. Okay, so OM, I need to travel from O to M. There is, at the moment, nothing. I know that if I travel from, if I want to find AB, if I want to go from, OM, let me quickly check that. OM would be going from O to a whole to AB. Okay, so let's read that. OM is OB plus a half of BM. Okay, so OB is just B plus a half. What is BA? BA is negative B plus A. Negative B plus A. But we're only interested in a half of that. So now we can simplify that. Let me write it a little bit to that side. So B minus a half B plus a half A. That would give me a half A plus a half B. And that would be OM. So a half A plus a half B. Good. So now we need to find OL. OL we know is just a half of this distance. It's a half of OM because L is the midpoint of it. So it is a half of OM. That would give me a half of a half A plus a half B. That would give me, let me just write it on the dotted line, a quarter A plus a quarter B. Okay, AL. I want to go from A to L. I don't have AL. Okay, so how do I find AL? AL is AO plus OL. And we found OL. Okay, so AL is AO plus OL. Okay, now what is AO? It is just negative A plus a quarter A plus a quarter B. And that would give me negative 3/4. Negative 3/4 A plus a quarter B. Okay, good. So that's that page. Let's move on to the next one. And we are nearly done with this. We're on the last page. They ask us find the ratio AL and AN in its simplest form. So AL we know is negative 3/4 A plus a quarter B compared to this ratio here was negative A plus a third. AN, we need to find what is AN. AN, a third. AN, let me just quickly write a C. So AN is this one. It's negative A plus a third B. Okay, plus a third B. Okay, now if I multiply this equation by 4 over 3, I will get let me quickly do that. So that would give me negative 1. Let's multiply it with 4. Okay, that would give me negative 3 and I think let's factor out the negative 3/4 or the 3/4 there. So 3/4, that would give me negative A plus 1/3 B. Okay, and now I can see that that is equal to negative A plus 1/3 B. So these two are equal to one another. So I can just work with this ratio, 3/4 to 1. So I'm going to write that down here, 3/4 to 1. We don't want quarters in our ratio. So I can multiply on both sides by 4. That would give me 3 to 4. And that is the ratio, 3 to 4. Okay. Good. So the last little bit is a matrix question. Again, we've got to do some things there. Let's have a look. On the grid, draw the image of triangle A after the transformation represented by the matrix -1, 0, 0, -1, 5. Okay. So it's a rotation, but let's quickly multiply it with our matrix A. So matrix A is 2, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3. Okay, it's the row times the column. So that would give me row, -1.5 times 2 would give me -3, plus 0 times 2 would be 0. -1.5 times 4 would give me -6, plus 0 times 2. Okay, that's 0. -1.5 times 4 would give me -6, plus 0 times 3 would be just -6. Okay, now the second one, the first value would every single time be 0. So I'm just going to multiply that with -1.5, these bottom values. That would give me -3, -3, -4.5. So I can now draw this, because that's what I wanted. Draw the image on the grid. So -3, -3, -6, -3, -6, -4.5. Okay, good. I'll show you now. Sorry. I've done the vertices. I've just plotted the vertices. Use my straight edge. Quickly draw in the the matrix, and that I can call I. Okay, good. Now they ask us, find the 2 by 2 matrix that represents the transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. So what happened to this triangle? Let's have a look at triangle A and triangle B. Here's my little stiff leg. That's the X value. If I turn it, that's now the Y value. So it's a 90-degree rotation. So I need to find this transformation that gives me a 90-degree transformation. Start off with my unit matrix, 1, 0, 0, 1. What happens to my unit matrix? This X value would have turned to this place, and the Y value have rotated 90 degrees to that space. So I can jot this down. What is this value there? It is now 0, -1. What is this X value there? On that line now, it is 0, 1, 1, 0. Okay, so the 2, let me rewrite that because that was terrible. 1, 0. So if I write that 2 by 2 matrix, whatever happened to my red axis, the x-axis, need to be written first. So it would be 0, -1, and then what happened to the y-axis? 1, 0. And that is the 2 by 2 matrix that represents a transformation of a 90-degree clockwise rotation. Okay, good. Last page. Okay, Gareth have 8 sweets in the bag. 4 sweets are orange flavored, 3 of them are lemon flavored, and 1 are strawberry flavored. Okay, and now we have to find some probabilities. Find the probability that 2 sweets are different flavors. Okay, and then let's read the third one. Gareth now chooses a third sweet. So to make our life a little bit easier, I'm just going to give myself some space here so that I can actually do a third selection later. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you don't need to draw those lines. I just like it. So that's my first, that's my second, and later we will have a third one. Okay, so that would give me orange, lemon, and strawberry. Orange is 4 out of 8, lemon is 3 out of 8, strawberry is 1 out of 8. Okay, good. Now for the second selection, he chooses 2 of the sweets at random. Find the probability that 2 sweets have a different flavors. So here he again can draw orange, lemon, strawberry, orange, lemon, strawberry, orange, lemon, strawberry, and orange and lemon. Orange and lemon. He cannot select a strawberry there because there was only 1 strawberry to select from. So now there is only 7 sweets left. That would give me 3 out of 7, 3 out of 7, 1 out of 7. That would give me 4 out of 7, lemon 2 out of 7, 1 out of 7. That would give me 4 out of 7 and 3 out of 7 choices. Okay, now let's have a look. What does he want? Find the probability that these 2 sweets have different flavors. So it would be orange, lemon, orange, strawberry. Okay, let's write it down. The probability that it would be orange times lemon plus a probability, lemon, not a 4, a probability of orange times strawberry plus, now the next one, lemon and orange, plus lemon and strawberry, okay, plus strawberry and orange, plus the probability of strawberry and lemon. Okay, good, there we go. Now I need to fill in the probabilities of each one of them and then write down the answer. Okay, so let's quickly do that. That would give us 4/8 times 3/7 plus okay, and then I can calculate it. 8 times 7, that will give me 56. So 12 plus 4 plus 12 plus 4 plus 4 plus 3, that would give me 38. Okay, and we are done with that question. Quite substantial, okay? If you draw a little tree diagram, things get a lot easier there, okay? So now Gareth chooses a third sweet. So that's why I made a space for a third column. Find the probability that none of the three sweets are lemon flavored. So let's quickly complete the diagram there. So orange, lemon, strawberry, orange, lemon, strawberry, orange, lemon, strawberry. There's strawberry, so we have orange and lemon, orange and lemon, lemon. Oh, why do I do a 4 if I want to write an L? Okay, lemon. Okay, there can't be any lemon, that's what they ask us. Find the probability that none of the three sweets are lemon, so I'm not going to be interested in the lemon. So orange, lemon, strawberry, orange, lemon, strawberry. Lemon, we're not interested. So actually I can disregard this whole section because that would be lemon. I don't want that. I don't want the lemon. I don't want the lemon. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 possibilities that would give me the possible outcomes that I want. Okay, so let's write it down. Okay, so it is a possibility of getting an orange times an orange times an orange, plus the possibility of getting an orange times a strawberry, plus the possibility of getting an orange times a strawberry times an orange. And then the last one here, strawberry, orange, orange, plus the possibility of getting a strawberry times orange times orange. And I think that is all that we can find. Yep. Okay. Okay, let's quickly do that. Calculation. So 4/8 times 3/7. That orange over there on the top would give me 2 out of a possible 6. Okay. Orange 4/8 times 3/7, and then the strawberry only 1 possible out of 6. Let me move my page up so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, plus orange, strawberry, orange, orange 4/8. Strawberry was 1/7 times, then we want orange, so that would be 3/6. Okay, and then the last one plus we want strawberry, orange, orange, strawberry is 1/8 times orange 4/7 times orange, that would give me 3/6. Okay, do the calculation. Okay, 8 times 7 times 6 would give me 336. Then we have the numerators that we've got to add up to, and that would give me 60. Okay, Good, ladies and gents, we are done with this paper. We are, there's still another hour left for your time to do the calculations. Good luck and hope to see you in the next one.